Welcome to a Shinn Show. And with me is Nicholas Shinn and Sarah Shinn from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm your faceless voice in the darkness, Pete Shinn from the greater Washington, D.C. area. Hello, young people.
Hello.
How are things in Omaha?
It's cold, man. A lot of snow.
Really?
Yeah.
Same way here. Cold and a lot of snow. Cold being 32 degrees, that seems cold to me.
I kind of keep track of the weather in my little journal thing. I do it like a daily high in the hopes of someday maybe making some sort of temperature related thing. I never actually follow through with it. But we've had like 65-degree weather. We went from in a week, we went from 5 degrees up to 55. And we were mid 50s, low 40s for the better part of a week and a half. And now it's like 30 and it's cold.
Yeah, there's a lot of variability in Midwestern weather. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of variability.
That's why we dress in layers.
It's so sensible. So sensible. Same here, though. I mean, we've gotten, I think, about 8 inches of snow.
That's more than what we got, honestly.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. And I have to say it's my first snowstorm in, 10 years or more than that, because I've been living in the South or overseas in that time. And I have to say, I have not missed snow. Haven't missed it.
I knew when you took this posting, I was like, he's going to hate the winter.
Hate is a big word. I did like this morning get out, looking at all the trees with all the frosting and all the deck with its little pile of snow. Oh my gosh, it was so lovely and charming. And then I thought, shit, man, I gotta shovel.
I'm over it.
I gotta shovel the driveway.
Yeah, shoveling the driveway sucks.
Yeah.
The trees, the frosting in the trees is literally the only aesthetically pleasing thing about snow.
We went downtown, last night where they have all the lights and the snow was wet and heavy. So the trees were still coated with it. It was very aesthetically pleasing.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed that aspect of the snow. So how's the rest of your week been?
I had a pretty productive week.
Yeah. Have you guys taken it easy in the aftermath of the fitness challenge?
I have lost more weight in the week and a half since we finished this fitness challenge than I did the entire month of December.
Really? What do you attribute that to?
Swelling.
I feel like that makes sense. I feel like your body was kind of in lockdown mode, not letting anything escape while you were putting yourself through all the rigorous training. And then once you eased up, it was like, okay, now we can let some of this shit go.
I will say this. I lost the most weight in my life doing nothing more than walking, but I wasn't eating that much. I was not doing a lot of vigorous exercise. Not much anyway. But
the frustrating thing is I was still watching what I ate. So to be watching what I ate and then working out and then not losing any weight was very frustrating.
Nick is correct, though, from a metabolic point of view. If your body was like, oh, my gosh, I am in a labor camp. And so as a result, I'd better conserve all of my fat and energy and everything that I can possibly hang on to because I don't know when El Comandante is going to give me a good meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Except
what I
was eating well, so that's the frustrating part, but it's fine. But it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
No, today marks a big day. Today is the first day in I can't even tell you how long that I am under 200 pounds.
Wow. Congratulations. I'm
in Wonderland.
That means you weigh less than I do, probably.
For the first time since we were kids.
That's extraordinary. Well done, indeed. Well done, indeed. There's nothing like getting on that scale to give you a reality check, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I weigh myself every day, so.
Yeah, once you get that data, once you start getting the data, then it motivates, different. You want to have different data points.
I hate to distract, but Sarah, have you let this dog out right here?
I did.
Okay, all right.
I don't know what he wants. He's been fed. He's been watered.
All right. Moving on.
Yes, congratulations to you, Sarah. Well done. Let me tell you something. That's an enormous accomplishment. It really is, and the best is yet to come.
Yeah.
You're a shadow
I got
of your...
more weight to lose, but that was my first big goal.
Yeah.
So I hit my first big goal.
Yeah, shadow of your former self. Well done. All right, Nicholas Shinn, you're up.
Shadow of the Colossus. This is a good game.
I feel like that was a backhanded compliment.
I realized as it was coming out what it sounded like.
And then I realized I wanted to say it anyway.
Yeah, but I assure you that it's just a video game that I actually never played. But my week was fine. It was great.
Good.
I worked a lot.
Yeah.
Worked a lot. Saw a lot of people.
Good. People are good.
People are fantastic. A good week for shoveling snow.
Okay, now you're
Not
echoing.
gonna let
for
that
some
go,
reason.
are you?
Weird. So did you?
No, it's not you, Sarah. It's a 100-year-old neighbor across the street. She's got nothing. She's got no options. So I have to go shovel her driveway whenever it's snow.
You know what that is? That is just darn thoughtful of you, Nick. That's what that is.
Well, I mean, it's the right thing to do. What else is she gonna fucking do if I don't do it? Pay somebody?
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's well, but then again, I know what neighborhood you live in, so probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, not that you're doing it for this purpose, Nick, but this is the kind of shit that ends up with you receiving a multi-million-dollar inheritance from a strange old lady you never knew.
Right. You're investing. It's like gambling, but there's no losing except your time.
Yes, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Well done. Good job by you, Nick. Good job.
Yeah.
And-
Thanks.
But that does beg the question, Sarah, what kind of nice thing have you done this week? Nothing. That's what.
No. Okay.
She probably hasn't had any geriatric individuals begging her for help. That's a good motivator.
That is.
Here was my good deed for the day.
Yes.
Staying at work for 12 hours on Tuesday because the internet was down and I knew that they couldn't function without it. That was my good deed.
That's a good deed right there. You know what my good deed was this week?
What?
Some of my coworkers on Friday night had to work past 7 o'clock, and I stayed until 7 o'clock before I said, suckers, I got to bounce.
How is
good.
that a good deed?
Because
Well,
you didn't have to stay.
I didn't have to stay till 7. I only really, but I had a lot of work to do, so it made sense for me to stay that late. In any event, though, I thought it was a good deed.
So it wasn't really altruistic.
Not in any sense, no.
But it could be construed that way.
It could have been and was apparently construed that way. So, you got to take the good deed that you can get, in my opinion. Because shoveling your own driveway typically does not count. I mean,
That's why I had Nick do it.
Yeah, I feel like
Altruistic of him.
well done, son. Again,
There was my good deed.
you're overflowing with altruism.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're questioning whether or not it's really a good deed, but it is. All right, so news this week, lots of it. Let's start with the good news, shall we?
Let's do it.
13-year-old Jamie Kloss escapes from her murderous captor, and the murderous captor, who killed both of her parents, allegedly, is caught. And she survives that experience. What a great experience. What a great story.
How long was this girl held in captivity for?
Indeed, she was a girl, 88 days or thereabouts.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Fuck, man.
How
Yeah.
old was she?
13-year-old Jamie Kloss.
Fuck.
Yeah, so this happened like north of the Twin Cities in Wisconsin. Wisconsin kind of overhangs Minnesota a little bit
Yeah.
there.
Do you know the whole story?
Yeah.
Bust it down for us.
Well, so what happened is about 88 days ago, it was like December 15th or something, or sometime. Maybe it wasn't 88 days. It doesn't matter. Maybe it was 88 miles. But it was sometime in the relatively recent past. 911 calls. There's kind of garbled message, but basically this 13-year-old calls 911 and says, hey, somebody's in here shooting up the place.
Oh, I remember this story.
Yes, killed both of her parents.
going.
Then he abducts her, takes her about not that far away, about 70 miles up the road, and keeps her. But they can't find her. They being the police, authorities, they don't know where she went. They don't know what happened. Of course, they're afraid, since both of her parents are murdered, that she too has met a grim fate. But, there's lots of posters out, flyers, people looking for her, all this sort of thing. And it turns out she wasn't that far away, just 70, 80 miles up the road. So this guy goes to work one day or whatever. We don't know all the details yet. But she escapes from where he had been keeping her, comes up to some lady and says, hi, can you help me? She says, I know you because I've seen you on the news. You're not that far away. And one thing leads to another. And she, Jamie Kloss, says, this is what my abductor cars look like. This is how you can find him. And the police do indeed find him almost immediately. And oh, by the way, this son of a bitch was looking for her at the time that the police caught him. They were looking to re-abduct her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, instead he found the police. That's a nice ending anyway.
Well,
so this guy just ran up in her house?
Yeah.
Did he know her parents or?
Yeah, I don't know all those details, but apparently, he had to have known this child, right?
there's got to be some more to that.
I mean, I felt like it was just a home invasion. I thought that he didn't know that the girl was home, and then took her instead of killing her.
I don't know. All I know for sure is we're going to get a lot of these interesting details when the Jamie Closs story comes out on Lifetime, and I can't wait for that.
How old was this guy?
21 years old.
21?
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, that's what I thought. I thought, well, he's pretty ambitious for a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that poor girl. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. But what a brave young girl. For sure. What a courageous young lady. And that's what we should focus on, is her courage in bringing this asshole to justice.
Fuck, man. Both her parents dead and then kidnapped. What the fuck is that like?
Well, I don't know, but
she's a survivor, though.
Yeah,
that girl's she's got some gumption,
moxie, and she's got a lot of family, so it's not like she's without support, and that's good.
Fuck yeah, I suppose.
All right, so good news on the Jamie Closs.
That was the good news. What's the bad news?
Well, one piece of bad news is that a large chunk of the federal government remains closed. It's now the longest shutdown on record.
Oh, but that's not the president's fault.
Oh, I'm glad to know.
Hey,
it's
man,
not.
You can't get impeached if there's no government. Huh?
Well,
that's playing 4D chess right now.
That's not.
You're right, 7D.
That's not the government that's shut down. That's the wrong side of government.
Yeah.
Those people are still there. I hate to tell you.
Who knows?
I like your thinking, though, Nick. But so, yeah, the government's still shut down. No end in sight. Because, I mean, ultimately, you could make the argument, actually, that Democrats could simply give the president what he wants because there's no way to spend
It's not very American of them.
Yeah, to spend $5.7 billion. I mean, the truth of the matter is that I know something about how government spends money, and it's difficult to spend a large chunk of money in any given year. It has to be appropriated in such a way as to be actually obligated or spent, and that's actually more difficult than you might think. So they really could give him $5.7 billion knowing that it couldn't be executed anyway.
LOL, here you go. Like an April Fool's sort of thing.
Exactly.
It's the principle, though. People are going to die on this hill.
Hey, so aren't there going to be some sort of negative ramifications of having the federal government shut down for so long? Like, aren't there some jobs that people aren't getting paid for?
Yeah, all kinds.
Absolutely.
You betcha. People like, TSA agents.
I was just going to say, a big problem that we're going to have here soon is that our airport security isn't going to be a thing. Like, they're not, the TSA is working for free right now.
It's
problem
true.
for some.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's a blessing and a curse.
Well, right. It's a blessing if you'd like to sneak something onto an airplane.
Or also if you just like to make your flight without getting groped.
How often does that actually happen?
Never once happened to me, but I've heard stories.
It happened to me. Now, normally I'm TSA pre-checked, but for some reason my travel agent here recently did not do that. And so I had to go through the plebeian cattle line. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And so for whatever reason, I was randomly selected for a search. And let me tell you, this guy literally grabbed my penis. I'm not kidding you.
He liked the cut of your jib, man. He saw you and he's like, yeah, that one. I want to see what he's working with.
I mean, I don't mean
package, or you just...
It's pretty callous of me to be joking about sexual assault, but hey, man.
Let me tell you something. I was sexually assaulted. I mean, I understand that it was a quote-unquote search, and perhaps I guess I was asking for it by wearing tight pants.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you don't go out wearing that shit anymore, you won't get so much attention, huh? In the TSA plebeian.
All right, joke. I'm going to take that as Sarah's disapproval of that whole
these
line
are all
of thinking.
jokes.
Yeah, these are the jokes, folks. All right, anyway, but that did happen.
They're bad jokes.
I was absolutely... So this guy, I mean, he is wearing plastic gloves. He's...
Oh, because that makes it better.
Yeah.
That makes it like medical.
Right.
Hand prophylactics, if you will.
But I mean, he's running his fingers right up my old crack, right up into the anus. You know what I'm saying? And grabbing my penis. I'm like, in public? I could not believe it.
Sir!
So listen, I'm just going to say this, which is this. When that happened to me, I was so shocked I couldn't say anything. And so I had a much better appreciation firsthand for when a woman is sexually assaulted and they say, I couldn't say anything because I was so shocked. I was shocked, and afterwards humiliated.
What do you fucking say in that moment when it's supposed to be a professional? Well, you know, it's supposed to be business as usual, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm being assaulted right now.
Right, exactly. What do you do?
That's called the freeze response.
That's 0 to 100.
Or 100 to 0 in any event.
Whatever way.
But yeah, so then I had a flight to catch, so that guy went on with his life. But
take down his name tag and be like, I'm going to write you a comment card later, sir.
Right. You know, when you go by this,
we'll put him right in the trash with the rest of them. Move along.
Yeah, there was a little thing. Point to the smiley or frowny face to describe your experience. I'm like, I don't need a smiley or frowny face. I need a doll to show you what happened.
A frowny face doesn't really quite encompass when a man has fully grasped your penis against your will.
Indeed it does not.
Frowny, all right, so there's not quite enough frown on that frowny face.
Not enough tears.
Right, exactly. There were, in fact, no tears shed at any point, although there could have been. So, point is, Nick, you're correct. There are some who will be quite pleased that the TSA is not getting paid, but they do serve a purpose besides sexually assaulting your father, is my understanding.
Well, could have fooled me.
I don't know why I'm laughing about it. I guess
I feel like every time I skirt through the TSA shit, I just narrowly avoid the same thing.
Yeah, you're probably correct.
There's just too many people, so I just wasn't in the statistic that day.
Yeah, well, lucky you is what I can tell you.
Those TSA agents, they're all fucking.
There's a lot to be said about how predators can hide in routine procedures.
Yeah, predators can hide in routine procedures. That's a good way of putting it, Sarah. I would also just say this, though. Most TSA agents are hardworking servants of the public.
Yeah, I was also going to add, that was a joke when I said all you fucking TSA agents.
Right.
It's a joke. I don't really mean that. I don't know any personally, but...
Well, I just know one intimately. But beyond that, I don't know.
Just one intimately against my will, I might add.
Right, but others I don't know at all. In any event, my point here is simply that there's going to be about, there's hundreds of thousands of federal workers, a quarter of the federal government, who are not going to be getting a paycheck on the 15th. And that creates a problem because from a legal standpoint, how can you ask people to work without paying them?
I can answer that. For money.
You give them the promise of back pay, but
right.
I think it just depends on what their employment contract says.
You just need a little faith, trust, and pixie dust.
Well, I guess.
If there's nothing in your employment contract that says you have to work when you're not being paid on the promise of back pay, then you don't have. I mean, that's what strikes are all about. So, kind of off topic, but similar. Here in Omaha, the Omaha Public Schools, OPS, is the only district in Nebraska that manages their own teacher retirement plan.
Really?
And, yes. The rest of them are delegated by the state, which also does the other public service workers' retirement plans. But OPS doesn't do that. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, they're like 7.5 million, I don't know, some big number short, 75 million short of their pension plan.
Okay.
Or, so this happened in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
The pension plan ran out and then the teachers went on strike because they're not going to work if they're not getting paid.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So it's kind of in the same vein. OPS is looking at their options to have the state take over
and bail them out.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, Sarah, that's a good point. How can you ask people to work if they're not getting paid? And if I were some of these people, I would just review my contract very thoroughly, or perhaps have a lawyer do it and be like, hey, so am I required to still do anything and, not lose my job because I'm not getting paid?
Yeah, so these are all issues. In fact, there is a lawsuit pending right now. I believe it's being brought by the American Federal Government Employees Union or Association, whatever the exact title of it is. But the point is that, there's currently, I think, a legal a lawsuit pending
because that violates the whole employee-employer aspect of it all, right? Like now we're not an employee and employer anymore. I'm just doing shit for you for free.
It's true. I mean, so do your rules apply to me if I'm a volunteer? And the answer is maybe they do, maybe they don't. But Here's the real issue. The real issue is that, as you said, Sarah, they're dying on this hill for this principle. And so and the hill that they're dying on, by the way, is Capitol Hill. But the point here is that there is no end in sight to this thing. There's no resolution that is foreseeable other than one side or the other giving in from a maximalist position. So in that scenario, you can imagine.
I heard that.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to
say,
you can imagine how long this thing might drag out. And it could, as the president say, drag out for weeks and months. But the longer it does, ultimately, human beings being what they are, they're looking for people to blame. I can't help but believe most of that blame will fall on President Trump, since he was the one who said, I'm delighted to shut the government down over this.
Yeah, I feel like he's the one least likely to give in, too. You're like, I'll just wait out the rest of my term on this shit. Fuck it. I don't care.
Well, we'll soon find out. When I say soon, I mean in our lifetimes.
Yeah, right.
So, Sarah, I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
You did, and I was saying, I heard. Sorry, my computer's dying. I got juggling chargers.
This is the kind of quality equipment that we're dealing with here on a Shinn Show.
It's great equipment. I just only have one power source.
Yeah, great equipment, but not enough of it. Classic problem.
Anyway, Trump was considering declaring a state of emergency, in which case funds to be allocated for the wall would come out of the DoD budget.
Yeah, you can imagine how excited most of the DoD community is about that prospect.
Right.
You can't just do that, right?
Sure. Well,
if you're the president, you can.
Maybe.
What about the whole checks and balances thing? Is that just out the window, or?
Well, this is an interesting point you bring up, Nick, because ultimately, if you consider Congress to be a co-equal branch of government, then if indeed it's important to Congress to fund the rest of the government and not hold it hostage to a $5.7 billion demand for wall funding, then the Senate could simply override the threatened veto of President Trump. And let's not forget that the original clean funding bill that was going to pass, but that in fact did pass, it passed the Senate by a vote of like 96-1 or 96-0 on a voice vote. So they have the support. They had at one point anyway, the support to override this threatened presidential veto. The fact that the Senate will not take up these measures and vote on them, well, that's completely the responsibility of the Senate Majority Leader, who decides what comes to the floor and what doesn't.
So isn't like, I feel like, okay, the government isn't necessarily a business, but like, we got shit to do, we have a country to run. So like, if you're just shutting everything down because you're throwing a fit that you're not building your it's a ridiculous idea to build a wall. But let's just take the reasons completely out of it and just look at it objectively. Okay. Just building a wall that long, that high, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. It's going to take a lot of resources, however many billions of dollars. So, like, if you're throwing a fit and shutting down the government over something like that, couldn't we just, fire you and keep the shit moving? We got shit to do.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of supporters want this wall.
He's
a lot of
treating
the
it like
American
a fucking game. It's not a game.
Yeah, Sarah's point is valid. There are millions and millions of people who do want this wall. You know why? Because it's a simplistic answer to a complex issue. That's one of the reasons we have not realistically dealt with immigration at this point. It's complicated. So, yeah. But a wall is a simple answer. And, it is what it is. And what it is right now is a real pain in the ass to the people who aren't getting paychecks. But that's not the only news this week. That's not the only news. The perhaps in the long run, bigger news is that the New York Times is reporting that the FBI has instituted, as of about a year and a half ago or a little more, a counterintelligence investigation of the president himself, trying to determine whether or not he is under the control or doing the bidding of or subject to the demands of the government of the Russian Federation. That's kind of a big story.
So this kind of leads into what I've been listening to this week. I've been listening to this podcast called Slow Burn, and this guy takes a look at the Watergate scandal as it unfolded. His premise is, what would it have been like to have lived through the Watergate scandal as it was breaking? So naturally he makes a lot of comparisons to our current political climate. And I really like it because it, again, as I've said multiple times on the show, Watergate didn't happen overnight. It was like a 2-3 year long investigation,
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to see what happened then and all the evidence that was gathered and all of that kind of stuff and how he kind of compares it to what's going on right now. So if you're interested, and I don't know jack about Watergate. Everything I know about Watergate, I know the bare bones and I know the outcome and everything else I've learned from movies, right? Because it happened in 1973 and I was born way after that.
You're learning about it now, though.
Well, yeah. And I've never been a big history buff, but I do like current events. So I like that it's teaching me about Watergate while comparing it to our current political climate. So I would recommend that.
Slow burn. Available
There's
wherever
2 seasons.
you get
The first season's Watergate. The second season is President Clinton's scandal.
Oh, very good. Now, I will tell you, if you're really interested in this, another podcast that just came out, I heard something about on Fresh Air, another podcast I listen to, is the podcast called Bagman. It's called Bagman, and it is about Vice President Spiro Agnew, who resigned in disgrace due to an illegal kickback and extortion scheme while he was vice president that had dated back all to his days as a county politician in Baltimore, Maryland. And that's also a fascinating tale because both Nixon and Agnew turned out to be corrupt, but Agnew, it turns out, was really far more corrupt than Nixon. And his story kind of gets brushed aside because Nixon's resignation was so much more traumatic for the country. But Agnew's story is also one that is absolutely fascinating. Bagman.
It is on my list. I've added it to the list.
Awesome. Well, that's all the news that fits. Here's what's up with pop culture and what's up with pop culture. No, more news? More news? Okay.
Hold the presses.
Yeah, there was a guy, just speaking of this wall shit, there's a guy who started a GoFundMe account.
Yeah, $20 million, something like that.
$20 million. And then he pocketed it.
He did not pocket it. That's a misconception. The GoFundMe is giving it back to the donators. But all it did was prove a point is that
he was going to pocket it. He'd done that shit before. My point was me and my friends, we have this group me where we just, send each other dumbass memes and occasionally shit like that. But I was like, when we had looked at that when it was like $13 million.
Right.
It had been raised. And my first response was, man, we should have started that GoFundMe and then just pocketed it. Right.
Well, yeah, that's called
That's
fraud.
kind of like a Robin Hood thing,
Well, why don't you start a GoFundMe page to make sure that Jesus is comfortable when he returns?
Maybe I should.
Go ahead.
Like, if you're dumb enough to donate your money to something like that, then you deserve to have your money taken.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. That's certainly how these
I'm talking about the wall thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, either one, to be completely honest. But like, if you're dumb enough to donate your money to something, no matter what it is, then...
Murphy yelled at me the other day because we were shopping at Torrid, and they're like, do you want to round your purchase up your 53 cents to donate to the Torrid Foundation? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Right.
And she's like, you don't even know where that's going. And I was like, shit, man, I don't give a fuck. It's 53 cents.
Right. Yeah.
But then the lady jumped in and she's like, it goes to domestic violence and some other shit. And I was like, it's a
Murph
it's a clothing.
just said that right there in front
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Of
Of
course.
Yeah.
Of
course. Yeah. Right.
So anyway.
Anyway, that does make sense that the Torrid Foundation would be, it's anti-domestic violence, not pro, correct?
Correct.
I assume so. She didn't really specify, to be honest.
I mean,
No, she did. She did. She went on a whole spiel about it.
Okay, good. Well,
it's just
you got to do your homework on those things. That's for sure. Yeah, that's an interesting point about that GoFundMe campaign. There's a sucker born every minute. That's the point. That is the point. Right. If you don't have an ethical, well, let me tell you, there's plenty of money to be made in this country if you don't have any ethics.
Oh yeah.
You could totally do the Jesus thing and then like have a disclaimer, like, X amount of our profit will go towards making Jesus comfortable and the rest goes towards this foundation, which is really just you.
Yes, you could do that. In fact, listen,
when in reality, both X amount and the other amount is all going to me.
Well, who knows? But Here's what I'll tell you.
You could furnish your own place and make it super nice and be like, this is where Jesus will live when he comes back. He has I have made it open for him.
That's a good point right there.
And I'm just watching it for him and throwing lavish parties.
In case
warm it up.
Well, he might come back at any time, so he wants to feel welcome. In fact, you should probably throw a party every single night.
Yeah, just in case. And day, too. You don't know what time he's coming.
That
would be pretentious to assume what time of day he's coming.
That's true.
And where, it depends on where he's coming back, time zones, all that good stuff.
That's why I need more money for multiple party houses.
That's true.
Across
you
the
do.
globe.
Set it up, brother.
Party houses for Jesus.
You don't know when he's coming back.
You don't know
I want to do it just to see what happens. I want to do this as a social experiment.
Right.
You'll get some money, dude. I bet. Maybe at least a couple $100.
Well,
It depends on what the terms and conditions are of Kickstarter or wherever you go.
I don't think they're very tight knit. I keep seeing all these fucking things about scams.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say to both of you. It's not a scam if you believe in Jesus.
That's right.
There you go.
Just believe.
That's right. All you got to do is believe. So, So there's a potential hobby for both of you. But again, I would suggest that your sense of ethics would probably prohibit you from taking advantage of suckers like that.
I would love for you to maintain that image of me.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if you both start wielding fat stacks of cash, I'll know what it's from.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right.
Wielding.
Right. Well, I don't know what you'll do with them. All right. So on to pop culture. The only thing I'm really tuned into right now is that particular podcast, Bagman. I think you're going to enjoy that. And then I started reading a Pulitzer Prize novel from a few years ago called Goldfinch.
Hey, real quick. We got less than a minute.
It's
going to cut us off mid-rant.
No, it won't. You never know what it'll do.
It is a mystery.
It is. So I'm reading this
Goldfinger or Goldfinch?
Yeah, Goldfinch, not Goldfinch.
Okay.
Yeah. But
that's Austin Powers.
I'm not into it. That's the problem. I can't get into it. It's about this young person who's, his mother dies, into art, and I don't know. The setup.
Too artsy-fartsy.
I just, there's one of these times when you need to get over the first 30, 40 pages, so then you're hooked. I'm just not hooked yet.
Well, that's been all of my books this year. I've started 4 or 5 books, and I just can't get into any of them. I'm not feeling it.
To correct you, Goldfinger was James Bond. Goldmember is Austin Powers.
Okay, all right. I muttered that under my breath.
He had the Midas touch,
right?
But he touched it too much.
Oh, Jesus. I've never seen those movies in their entirety, which is a shame. I really should watch it.
Yeah.
When I used to get my CAT scans, because they'd take fucking an hour and a half, they would let you pick out a movie. You would be laying upside down, and they had mirrors set up so that you could watch the movie right side up. And I always picked Austin Powers.
That's funny.
I learned something today.
Yeah, when you were getting CAT scans for your concussions.
Yeah, from my grievous head injury. Yeah.
Yeah, I recall it. Being hit by a car is no joke.
Allegedly, or something. Being hit by a car or something.
Or Will Ferrell in a
monkey
suit.
Happened.
I don't know.
It's true. Will Ferrell in a monkey suit. Why would you say that?
You don't know.
That was just a long time running joke because no one had any fucking idea what happened at all.
Oh,
we just
God.
found
It still doesn't. So we were like, yeah. It could have been, for all we know, Will Ferrell in a monkey suit. It kind of devolved into that. It was at first just a monkey.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure how Will Ferrell
woods.
got dragged into it.
Oh, because he's so darn funny. That's how. Just hilarious.
Because that would be comedic.
Right. Rather than tragic.
Yeah.
Right. Who hits an 8-year-old and doesn't stop?
Yeah, who does that?
But then maybe it wasn't. Maybe I just smashed on the doctor said this was pretty much impossible. But it's, maybe I just hit the curb so fucking hard at the right angle. I don't know how I would have done that, though. I'd ridden my bike a billion times before.
Yeah, well, that's like those people who say, I don't need to wear a seatbelt. I've never gotten in a car wreck.
No, it's not like that at all. The analogy doesn't.
That would be if I was saying I don't need to wear a helmet.
Which you weren't, for the record.
Well, I weren't. Well, dude, I was a half a block away from my house.
Yeah.
I walked back home.
Yeah.
You could see.
I'm pretty sure you did walk back home.
I did walk back. He was right there. I wasn't even half a block away. I was like 25 feet from the entrance of the front door.
I can't tell you how. Yeah, I was mad at the time because you weren't wearing a helmet. I was all about the helmet wearing.
Yeah.
It was the 90s. Who wears helmets?
It wasn't the 90s. It was early 2000s. But
if you were 8, it was early 2000s.
I was born in 96, dog.
Yeah, come on.
So
Fuck.
That would be 2004.
Helmet use was pretty widespread in 2004.
All right.
Not in our town. Certainly not. But fucking...
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I wasn't wearing
Nobody
when
wore
I
helmets.
crashed my bike.
You were wearing a helmet. That's why you didn't get a head injury. You just got road rash, and then I threw you in a bathtub full of cold water, or tried to. And
I remember that.
Yeah. Fortunately, my wife at the time, cooler heads prevailed there, and we just took her to the hospital instead.
Take her to the hospital.
I did not get taken to the hospital.
Well, you should. You should have been.
Later.
You should have been.
Yeah.
But like, even if I had been, you
would have been kept for observation, probably.
I guess, but like, there's not really much you can do.
Yeah, there is. There's neurological tests. What do you think they're doing in that blue tent on the sidelines of NFL games?
Yeah, I don't know. This is
Sandy's boyfriend recently sustained a head injury, and they ended up having to peel his face off and put in a plate to reconstruct his skull and sew it back on. So he's got like some Frankenstein stitches going on. And like I like him, but it freaks me out every time I see him.
Yeah, well, sounds like a pretty serious fucking head injury, is what I would say. If he looks like Frankenstein.
It seemed like it was just like really focused in one spot.
Yeah,
like
it was serious. I mean, he could have lobotomized himself.
Holy fucking shit!
Well,
but
that's like a real scary way of putting it.
Yeah. Well.
Almost lobotomize yourself.
Glad you didn't.
It's all good. He just has a row of Frankenstein.
It's all love.
As it were.
It's all love, baby.
All right. So back to the current event, which now I can't recall what the current event was, Nick.
We're talking about gold. We weren't talking about current events. You were reading a book that you hated.
Oh, yeah,
Goldfinch.
That's right. Goldfinch, which devolved into Goldmember, which somehow devolved into Nick's concussion and Will Ferrell in a monkey suit. All right. Anyway. So that's it for pop culture, I think. You guys see any movies or anything like that?
I meant to go to Spider-Man this week, which was a big thing. Like, I was super excited because Murphy doesn't like animated films. So anytime I get her to go to one, it's a victory.
Right.
Plus, then I get to see the animated film. So it's super sweet.
Right.
But then I was at work for 12 hours.
Oh,
so
man.
I had to return my movie tickets. I'm not salty at all about that.
Oh, that's a drag,
at all.
though. That's super drag.
What caused you to have to?
I was at work for 12 hours.
Oh, that bullshit.
Yeah.
We
had hardware failure, so that shit fucks shit up, and you got to fix it.
Well, that's when you need a computer engineer. Good thing you are one.
I understand that. Having to be at work way fucking longer than you need to. Like when you have a table that comes in 10 minutes before you close, and then you're like, hey, just so you know, we close in 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. And then they just sit there and talk for 3.5 hours. Yeah. Everyone else in the store is gone. It's just you waiting.
The lights are out.
Lights are off. Food's put away. It's all good.
All chairs up. Floors mopped around them.
I always wonder if those people are like, part of the mob.
Well, it just kind of seems like sometimes they get off on it.
Yeah.
Probably, honestly.
They probably do. What a bunch of dicks.
Holding you hostage.
Yeah.
The only legal way they can.
Yeah, there are bosses like that too, by the way.
Uh-huh. Mine's not like that, but
there's just people like that,
Yeah, there's just people like that. You got to learn to live with it because after all, you need that paycheck.
Well, yeah, and then if it's just ridiculous, then I'll just go out to my car and smoke cigarettes or just play Pokemon on my phone. I'll just
you get paid for it. It's just
No,
I would rather not get paid for doing what I want to do.
I don't get paid for it. No.
Yeah. Well,
I get paid whatever they choose to tip me.
Yeah.
If they want to tip me, and those people don't tip, dog.
Yeah.
They might, whatever they tip you, it's not. So they kept you there 3 hours after close and they tip you $10, $10 for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Let's do the math. How many is that an hour? Not enough.
Right. Right. Roughly speaking.
Roughly speaking. Dick.
Got it.
I felt like my waitress was keeping me hostage at Who Hots yesterday.
I always say that, like, if I even think that someone's even close to done, some people get offended when you drop their check before they're done. And it's like, hey, dude, you don't have to pay and leave. I'm just doing this so I'm not keeping you hostage. Right. I say that all the time. Just so I'm not keeping you hostage. Here you go. Yeah. That's it. Some people will be like, oh, are we ready for the check? And they're like, yeah, when I'm ready. And then what I want to say is like, I'll tell you what, I can put the check right here and you can just pretend it doesn't exist until you're ready. That way, you can pay for it at your leisure. I don't have to fucking do the guessing game when you are ready. I come up and fucking ask you and bug you when you're ready. You understand? Also, just another, while I'm rambling here,
yes,
you can pay your shit and then not leave. You can pay it. You know what I mean? That's fine. You don't have to leave when you pay. You can pay and then sit there. So if you think you're going to sit there and have a conversation for a few hours, fucking pay. And then, that way the server can leave. They got your money.
Yeah, that's fair, what you're saying right
For fucking sake. No one's going to listen to this, but I wish 1 billion people were just listening to that. Right? Just that.
The most important part of the pod right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So many times I'm like, why do you think you have to leave if you, just pay? Okay, and then you can sit around and jerk each other off under the table all you fucking want.
Well, so the other side of that coin, just as Sarah identified, is sometimes you're just like, you're sitting around jerking off, waiting for someone to bring you a fucking check. I mean,
I ended up getting the manager or whatever as he was walking by. I'm like, can I get a fucking check, please?
That's bad service.
Yeah, that is.
Even if I think there's a chance that it might be a little too soon, then you just throw in the line, hey, don't want to, just so I'm not holding you hostage, here you go, whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. No rush.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
Take your time, but do hurry the fuck up.
I mean,
take your time faster.
Right, take your time if you're going to tip me twice. I mean, otherwise, get the fuck out of here so some other asshole can tip me. That seems fair. Wow, that was a good rant, Nick. That was a quality rant.
Yeah, I wish someone important would say it. I wish a fucking
like the president.
Yeah. Well,
no,
then a lot of people won't take it seriously. I wish someone likable and important would just get on and fucking say it, just so people know.
Right.
It's like basic, very basic. I guess some people just don't understand how it works. Okay, they don't get that it's the server can't leave if they don't get your money that they charged you for shit for. But
right,
it seems like it would be kind of common sense. I don't know, but it's not. And besides, even if it was,
how it works. If you've never been in the restaurant industry, you don't know shit.
I guess I wouldn't know what that's like anymore. I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 17.
That's true. Yeah, you're an expert. You really are.
Well, whatever. But
it's just like
you don't need to be an expert to
figure this out.
To figure that shit out. Although common sense is far from common.
It's true. That's a very true statement right there. Well, in any event, so that's it for pop culture. None of us saw shit. None of us read shit. None of us heard shit. So
I did. Well, I mean, we listened to those podcasts.
Yeah, we did. We've pimped the podcast. That's good. How about sports? So just real quick, NFL update. That's my main deal. And yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys fell to the Los Angeles Rams. That was pretty predictable. And then also, fairly predictably, the Kansas City Chiefs whooped up on the Indianapolis Colts. And
my roommate threw together some interesting stats. He's a huge Chiefs fan, but there's a lot of history. They've lost the last, 4 playoff games against.
Yeah, I didn't think that the Chiefs were good, but apparently they are.
They're good. And their quarterback he's a rising star. He's very, very good. Patrick Mahomes.
We passed
up. So he won this playoff game is what you're telling me?
Yeah. And they it's also been another 4 games since it's something about the home playoff games against the fucking Colts specifically.
Yes.
Had been bad for them.
It's been a bad omen. I mean, one of the most memorable games in NFL history pitted Peyton Manning against Trent Green in a absolute shootout that featured, I don't think, a single punt in the game. And the Colts ended up beating the Chiefs in a year that the Chiefs were projected to go all the way to the Super Bowl. Now, this year apparently is different. I will tell you, the Chiefs' defense, which has been kind of a weakness for them, looked awfully damn good yesterday. So if the Chiefs' defense continues to play well in the AFC Championship game,
they might just make it because their offense is flame. Aside from poor Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, but they look great. So anyway, it's going to be the Chiefs versus the winner of today's game between the Chargers and the New England Patriots, and in the AFC title game, and it's going to be the Los Angeles Rams against the winner of today's contest between the Eagles and the New Orleans Saints. And the winner of that game then will ultimately face off in the Super Bowl. So very exciting. We'll see how that goes. Now, however, time for the UFC update. Is there one?
Well, wait, hold up. How about Clemson?
Oh, I guess we haven't talked about that, did we? Yeah, Clemson. The thing is,
up on Alabama.
They did. Bama. But, it's, as I've said many times, and we'll say again for the record, this is the 4th year in a row that Clemson and Alabama have played in the college football playoff. Admittedly, not this year, but last year it was in the semifinal rather than in the final. But at a certain point, you got to say, college football, dominance is not interesting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it was the only interesting thing about it is that Clemson won.
You're right. Had Alabama won, it would have been Although I do know a lot of Alabama fans who were, crying in their beer over that.
Well, yeah, of course they were.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't know what it's like to have a losing season.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, so yeah, Clemson, I will say this. Have you actually taken a good look at their freshman quarterback?
Yeah. Well, I haven't taken a good look myself, but there's been a lot of segments about that dude.
So you've seen his face. You've seen what he looks like, right?
Yeah.
And what he looks like, and I apologize.
Stoner from the 70s.
Oh, no, I was going to say he looked like Jesus Christ without a beard.
Okay. Yeah.
Same thing.
So I just saw some long-haired, skinny, fucking stoner-looking dude.
Nah, dude. No,
in football pads.
Looks like Jesus. I'm telling you right now, you put a goatee on that sumbitch. He's the Lord.
He's the Lord and Savior.
He's the Lord and Savior of Clemson football. I'll tell you that.
Lord and Savior of the SEC.
No, ACC.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. He's the devil of the SEC.
The devil of the SEC.
Yeah. But here, the Antichrist for the SEC, if you're following along in a religious analogy sort of way, I'm probably going to hell. Look, here's the point. The point is that if we go
You're
back...
only going if you believe.
Yeah, well, so you do believe. Anyway, so...
I believe that I've read it. Oh, so you do believe.
So let's go back to your GoFundMe page. I'm just saying the Lord may have already arrived and he's expecting these party houses and you are failing to deliver. You're failing to deliver.
We need to get this money double time, folks. We need donations.
If
all you Jesus lookalikes come out, we'll have tryouts.
Tryouts? They'll just show up and do some miraculous thing. Like make you rich.
Well, they got to prove that they're Jesus. I don't know.
I got to see some miraculous things.
Well, how about Clemson beating Alabama? There's a miracle right there. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess. He's number one candidate right now.
At this point. Yeah.
I don't know what any of this means, but
what it means is that Nick needs to get his GoFundMe campaign going, yo. That's
there
what it means.
We go.
Yeah. On to the UFC. Nick, I understand that John Jones and Adam Smith, is that right?
No, Anthony Smith.
Anthony Smith. Adam Smith was the famous author from the 17th century of the economic treatise. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, sure he was. Anyway, Anthony Smith and John Jones are slated to fight in March. Anthony Smith being I don't know, what is it, plus 800. He's opening like plus 800 something.
He's opening enough that it's real tempting to bet on him.
Anthony Smith?
Yeah, he is the underdog of underdogs.
Yeah. I mean, $20 could get you a long way. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
yeah. So explain to me how it works. When it's plus 800, what does that mean? How much do you get per $100?
My understanding is that that's basically 8 to 1. So if you put down $100 and you win, you get $800.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
That sounds right to me.
I think that's right.
So $20, you'd get back $160 on a $20 bet.
That's playing money.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of gambling, and you know why?
Because it's gambling.
Yeah, because the outcome seems really unpredictable.
Well, I respect that.
Yeah. The outcome seems like, I don't know. I don't gamble either. And I don't, especially not on UFC fights.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. But this one is just like when the odds are like that, like here's what I'm 99.99% sure of.
Yeah.
I'm sure, 99% sure that John Jones is going to beat the ever-loving fuck out of Anthony Smith.
I think that's fair.
Easily. A lot of people, the only chance he has is that he underestimates Smith, and Smith gets the miracle knockout in the first round, which isn't going to happen. But even if it did, then John Jones would get an immediate rematch, and he's not going to lose twice. But Anthony Smith is, for all indications, there's no fucking way he's going to win against John Jones. Because John Jones is not only very high IQ fighter, but he's also got a little bit of juice in him. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Like, no, look, because there was this news article that had come out. Oh, John Jones just came back. This time he tested positive after being. And I'm like, John Jones is the only UFC fighter you're going to hear news about for testing positive. You know what I mean? That should be par for the course. That shouldn't be news.
No, you mean he tested negative. Positive. He tested negative, in other words.
Excuse me. Yeah, just reverse everything I just said.
Right.
Yeah. Reverse it all.
He's the only UFC fighter you're ever going to hear about where it's big news that he tests negative for steroids.
That he has no steroids in his blood at this point.
Yeah, he's Mr.
That should be par for the course. You should not have that. Shouldn't be news.
Yeah,
but it is.
But it is.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that someone, they're just full of shit. They couldn't just cancel the fight. He brings in a lot of fucking views, makes a lot of money for the company, so they allowed him to have some juice in.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, we've had this conversation. I'm all for John Jones with some juice. I think it's perfectly fair.
John Juice Jones.
John Juice Jones. So, yeah.
Dude, how audacious would it be if he changed his fight card or whatever to Juicy? John Jones.
There's no fucking way he would do that.
John Juicy Jones.
Good.
I like
that. Would end his career.
But it would.
Well, no, it wouldn't.
It would increase my respect for him, though.
Yeah, it would. But yeah, so the odds are what I'm almost positive is going to happen is Anthony Smith gets the fuck beat out of him. But if he doesn't, and he does get that miracle knockout, and you did happen to drop that 20 spot on him, then you got $160.
Yeah, well, that's money you can save, spend, or invest. But I'm never going to do that because, at the end of the day,
I don't know how to do it. So.
Good. Yeah. Why research it? Why even look into it?
I'm sensing parental disapproval.
Gamble all you want. All y'all are adults, I've never figured out. I just have had a couple of gambling experiences in my life where I lost every penny and more, and I'm like, this isn't fun. I'm not entertained.
The only gambling I've ever done is on penny slots. And do you think I ever win? No.
Yeah. So it's like I'm giving my pennies to.
I've never done like professional gambling, but I've placed bets amongst me and my friends, and it's never. Even when I do win money, I don't have a burning desire to do it again.
Yeah, it's not satisfying. It doesn't feel satisfying to me in any event. So, but the point is that it's probably going to be very satisfying for John Jones to crush the life out of Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Y'all got no faith in the homeboy.
I think it's possible. I think it is. There is a 0.01% chance that John Jones underestimates Anthony Smith. But like, dude, if Gustafsson went down like he did, I've seen Gustafsson fight. I mean, Anthony is no bitch. He's a good fighter. Okay. He's won. And there's been plenty of fights where I was like, there's no fucking way he's going to win against Shogun, Volkan Ozdemir, Rashad Evans. No way. Then I thought he would win against any of those fucking guys. And guess what? He did. He won. But John Jones is not in the same caliber as those guys.
Yeah. He's in his prime.
Those guys were not on steroids, as far as we know.
So let me ask you this about John Jones. Has he ever lost a fight? He's lost, hasn't he? He has been defeated.
Hold on. Let's pull up
I don't believe
stats.
so. He had a no contest once when they stripped him of his win against Daniel Cormier because he had fucking...
Yeah, okay. So he's never actually been beaten to our knowledge.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so that being said, it seems
21 he's had one loss.
Okay.
Against who?
23-1.
Probably that Cormier fight is what they're counting as the one loss.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well,
that was the no contest.
I didn't want to.
He does not have a no contest.
Listen, I didn't want to have
to. That's because they took away the no contest. They were like, okay, well, you know what? We'll give it back to you because the juice that was in it was all such butt fuckery that I can't even explain it. Oh yeah, the juice that was in your system then, we're negating that because you're kind of halfway clean now. So it's all good. You're all good. It never happened.
All right. So
you're a good fighter. You're on the up and up.
Now I can tell you the truth. The truth that I've hid from you all these years.
Yeah.
The one loss that John Jones had was at my hands.
Shit. Where's the money?
It was a street fight.
That's why Dad doesn't gamble anymore.
He went 0-1. Anyway, and he's been 23-0 ever since.
I have
He was 6 years old and I was 22. So
okay.
I have 2 fights that don't have a little win card under Jones, which doesn't make sense. So one of these is lying. But I have Jones versus Matt Yushchenko, August 1st, 2010.
As a loss?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't have.
That was probably negated due to the juice.
And then there's Jones versus Henderson, which doesn't have.
Also negated due to he's had at least a couple of fights wiped out due to steroid use. Positive drug.
The rest of these all say that. Oh, here, show stats. That's what I wanted.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you?
I don't know, but this is like his takedown defense and whatever. He has a 95% takedown defense. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a hell of a fighter if he could get his personal life under control.
Yeah, and let's not forget, aside from the steroids, he did do a hit and run while he was drunk on a pregnant woman.
Fuck. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, mistakes were made. Okay, let's not judge
How is he
the
not
man
in jail?
just because he hit a
you didn't
pregnant
know that,
woman
Sarah?
with a car.
No.
Oh yeah, he did a hit and run, pretty serious,
in New Mexico, I
when
believe.
he was drunk as fuck on a pregnant woman.
Wasn't that Albuquerque that happened?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
again, how is he not in jail?
Listen,
he's a good fighter. He's a good athlete. There's
He is.
plenty of athletes, like not even just fighters. Plenty of NFL players who have done horrible shit.
Jesus.
Ben Roethlisberger, who just they're good, so they don't have to go to jail.
well, there are exceptions to that.
I guess O.J. Simpson is like one of the exceptions, but he just murdered the fuck out of his wife and did a high-speed chase and
So on, yeah. He did
certain things that you like.
Yeah.
You can't get away with.
Yeah,
But
well-
if it's like done in the darkness and you don't really see about it until like later, then when it's a live high-speed chase, yeah, they're gonna fucking.
He lost to Matt Hamill December 5th, 2009 on the Ultimate Fighter 10 finale.
No kidding. He lost in the I did not realize that John Jones was on the Ultimate Fighter. Much less that he had lost in the finale.
That was shortly before. Well, it was in the middle of his UFC. It was between his 4th and 5th UFC fight.
Fantastic. Well, this is all very interesting, but it doesn't change the fact that Anthony Smith's going to get his ass kicked.
Maybe.
That's possible.
Probably.
Hey, is Anthony Smith that Nebraska fighter?
Yeah.
He's from
Oh,
Nebraska
shit.
City, dude.
He's our homeboy.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, you should fly out and see him. I don't care what it costs.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I went to school with his sister, not him.
Got it. So, whatever. Well, I'll tell you what, that's exciting, though. That's exciting that a Nebraska product has the prospect of being a UFC champion.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great fighter.
He is a great fighter.
And a terrific human being.
Sure.
You're not going to find Anthony Smith hitting and running some pregnant woman in Albuquerque. I'll tell you that.
That is so fucked up. Thanks for ending my show on that.
Well, sorry. What can I tell you? Let me just circle back all the way around to the beginning and remind you how we started the show with the good news about Jamie Kloss. Doesn't that make you feel better about humanity?
Yeah, hold on.
Vaguely, except that was a horrible, terrible thing that still had to happen.
Hold on, though. I still got some Wayne Gretzky trivia.
All right, let's lay out the Wayne Gretzky trivia, and then we'll wrap it up.
Very quickly, the most recent of Wayne Gretzky's 60 NHL records was set sometime after his 1999 retirement. His points per game average of 1.921 was second only to Mario Lemieux, 2.005, who later came out of retirement and lowered his own average, moving Gretzky to the number 1 spot.
Thank you, Mario Lemieux. Well done. It was
Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, it was the classic Mario scenario.
And Lemieux did all this while suffering from a spinal disc hernia, chronic tendonitis, chronic back pain, and cancer.
Yeah, well, he was a tough son of a gun.
The second time he retired was because he was suffering from atrial fibrillation.
Oh, yeah, heart disease.
Imagine what he could have done if he was healthy.
AFib. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Just drop dead. So this is really Mario Lemieux trivia, not just Wayne Gretzky trivia.
Yeah, the upshot is that Wayne Gretzky's most recent NHL record, he has many records, but the most recent of them was only set because another guy came out of retirement and fucking
Reduced his own record.
lowered. Yeah.
Hey, so where'd you get all this trivia?
Me?
Well, who the fuck else is giving the trivia? Yeah, you.
On the front page of Reddit.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. That's an important fact, right?
Wasn't even in the sports subreddit either. It was just today I learned.
Today I learned Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux was really a heck of a hockey player.
How do you know that it's Mario and not Mario?
I've heard it in a song. I can't remember what song it was. Shots, 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 like Mario Lemieux.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
interesting.
but that song could have had it wrong.
That could have been.
Yeah. I guess we'd have to ask Mario/Mario ourselves to really know. I mean, but no one says Mario Brothers, do they? They say Mario Brothers.
No, but that could be a certain dialect.
A parent's decision. So we were talking about, I'm hijacking this. In my line of work, I see a lot of names.
Yeah.
Right. So we were talking about what's the craziest name you've ever seen. And my favorite story is to tell is when Aunt Stella told me that she had a kid named Orangelo.
Right.
Which was orange jello.
Right. Spelt as if it were orange jello, but pronounced Orangelo.
Pronounced Orangelo.
Right.
I like it. Does sound phonetically pleasing though, right? It's fun to say. Orangelo.
Orangelo. Yeah. It does. It sounds wonderful.
Maybe fuck up the spelling though, so it's not orange fucking jello on it when you turn in your homework.
Well, just put an accent here and there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, anyway, so a guy I was working with was saying he used to work for the DHS here in Nebraska.
Yes.
And so he also saw a lot of names, and his two favorites were Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Ooh, that's
as a legitimate, like, that was on his social security card.
Yeah.
First name was that his whole?
That was his whole name, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Well, you could do Ty.
Yeah, Ty-Rex.
Sure.
No, his mom called him T-Rex.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And the next one, spelled K-A-R and then a hyphen I-O-N.
Carrion?
Well, that's how he pronounced it. Evidently, the lady bit his head off because it's Kardashian.
Really?
You pronounce the dash.
Oh, Kardashian.
Yeah.
Okay.
How the fuck? Who the fuck? Like, nobody. You don't pronounce
grammatical.
What is that? Punctuation. You don't pronounce punctuation. You
Yeah.
don't say O''Del. That's not your name. Your name's Odell.
Well,
Carrie. You like anyway.
Carrion. Wow, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. No, but it's in fact Kardashian. I will say this.
Well, but it is in fact carrion is what it is. If we're talking about grammatically correct English language that we're all speaking, then it is in fact carrion. You can just say that it's Kardashian, but that's actually not correct. So you fucked up.
Well, I wish your mother
choose to believe that. If you wanted it to be Kardashian, then you spell it Kardashian.
She must have heard this rant from Nick in the future. Like, she must be a time traveler, and that's why she got so pissed that my coworker called her Carrion instead of Kardashian.
Oh man, I would fucking
we know what you would fucking do. Yeah, but what I'll say is this: I do deeply wish that I would have named you, son, T-Rex, and you, daughter, Orangelo. I wish I'd have done that.
Yeah, I got Orangelo.
Exactly. Right. Welcome to a Shinn Show with Carrion and Orangelo.
I'm Carrion, and this is Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Right. I'll take on the T-Rex moniker rather. I'll be T-Rex, you be Carrion, and then you be Orangelo, Sarah. Sound good?
Go. All three of us. We got 3 people, 3 names. Let's
go. Carrion. Carrion's like that could be like a supervillain's name.
Well,
it sure could.
Carrion is roadkill.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you like have the ability to raise roadkill.
What if you spelled it roadkill but pronounced it carrion?
Yeah. Oh, well.
I guess. I mean, whatever, man. You can just spell anything any way you want and then get pissed at people for not pronouncing it the way you want it pronounced.
Like a supervillain. Yeah.
There you go. There's the real secret. She was a supervillain.
Yeah. Good way to wrap up the podcast, kids. Thanks. A Shinn Show is a production of Shinfluence, and it features the voices and opinions of the Shinn family. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good show.
Dude, I'm watching this thing called the Spinebuster 2000.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No one's spine gets busted in the video, though.
No, but it is entertaining to see these people so they're on like a giant water slide, and the homemade, obviously. it does not end well.
The spine.
It's like a giant water slide that goes up, and then there's just open ground, and you're supposed to fly from the other water slide onto another water slide.
Yeah.
You know, the measurements aren't very precise.
There's also no water. As I'm looking at this, it looks like baby powder.
Hilarity ensues. So, a Shinn Show is brought to you by the Spinebuster 2000.
Yeah, that's good.